the compensation expense that I'm going to be inserting within my income statement is based on the fair value of the option on the grant date. That is very, very important, my friends. Okay, so if I'm giving you some options today, if today is the grant date, I have to estimate the fair value of the option today. Now, of course, from derivatives level 1, and of course, when we come to derivatives level 2, you will remember that the premium of an option is made of two components. We've got the intrinsic value, i.e. S minus X or 0. So the underlying price minus the strike or 0, whichever one is greater, that's called intrinsic value. But then you also have time value. Okay, so even if I give you an at-the-money option is an option where the stock price is equal to the strike, so therefore intrinsic value is 0. Even if I give you an at-the-money option right now, well, it's worthless right now, or even if it is out of the money right now, it's worthless. But the fair value of that option is not 0, my friends, because of the time value. The maturity of that option could be 10 years. So there is a chance over the next 10 years, the option will move in the money, and that's going to be reflected by the positive time value. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some kind of option pricing model. I'm going to estimate the fair value of the option based on today's stock price. Now, why am I taking today's stock price? Because today is the grant date. Okay, the fair value has to be estimated on the grant date. And very importantly, even if the stock price moves up or down in the future, that, my friends, becomes irrelevant, okay? Once I've estimated the compensation expense at the grant date, I don't care about any future changes in the fair value of the already granted option, okay? Now, what I do, however, is I take that compensation expense that I've already estimated, and then I amortize it straight line to 0 over the vesting period. So remember, the vesting period could be very long, could be 10 years. So what I will do is I will take the total compensation expense and I'm going to multiply it by 1 over 10. That's how much I should take, let's say, in year 1. And that's how much I should take in year 2 as well, because I'm straight lining, right? So this results in lower net income. Pretty straightforward. If you've got any kind of expense in the income statement, it's going to give you lower net income. Lower net income then flows into equity, giving you lower retained earnings. But actually, if you think about your balance sheet, right, assets on the left, liabilities and equity on the right, if my equity has declined, and that's due to the lower net income on the income statement, okay, and I should be more specific here. I shouldn't say equity, I should say retained earnings. If retained earnings has declined on the right-hand side, but cash hasn't declined, so this is a very big advantage of share-based / option-based compensation. Okay, so if I'm a high-growth, high-potential company, let's say think of those fintech companies, think of all those AI companies, right? Crypto companies. They may have large, high potential right now for future growth, but they don't have the cash flow right now to pay big salaries. Yeah, they simply don't have the cash in the coffers. So how can I compensate all that talent that works for me? I'm going to give them share-based compensation. The advantage here, well, at least one of the advantages, is that it's not going to require a cash flow right now. Of course, the big disadvantage is it's going to cause huge dilution, right, for the rest of the shareholders, because I keep showering the employees with share-based compensation. Well, one day, when this company becomes the next Alphabet, these guys are going to be millionaires, right? And they're going to be exercising the options. They're going to be shareholders. So there's going to be a lot of dilution for everybody else. But if cash is not going down, what is happening? Well, the assets are not affected by share-based compensation. So something's got to give on the right-hand side. Your retained earnings has gone down. Well, there's another part of equity. So think of it as an OCI item called share-based compensation reserve. We'll just call reserve here. Just call it reserve. And that reserve is going to go up by that amount. Okay, so the amount that you expense in the income statement reduces retained earnings and then increases the share-based compensation reserve. Now, what will happen eventually as the options get exercised and as you actually now have shares, that compensation reserve will then be removed and the corresponding amount will be put into common stock and additional paid-in capital.